The Galactic Council chambers on Zentara Prime had never witnessed such unanimous agreement. Representatives from 473 species sat in their designated atmospheric pods, their various appendages, tentacles, and manipulator limbs raised in perfect synchronization. The vote was 473-0, with Earth's representative conspicuously absent from the proceedings. Chancellor Vex Thala, her crystalline form refracting the chamber's bioluminescent lighting, announced the decision with ceremonial gravity. The motion carries unanimously. Humanity is hereby classified as a Class VII servile species, suitable for manual labor, resource extraction, and basic manufacturing roles throughout the galaxy. Ambassador Krill of the Hegemony clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. The psychological evaluations are conclusive, he reported, his forearms gesturing at the holographic displays. Humans possess adequate intelligence for complex tasks, while maintaining sufficient docility for control. Their emotional attachment to their offspring makes them particularly compliant when properly managed. The Zephyrian delegates' gaseous form pulsed with agreement. Their home system's isolation has left them technologically primitive. They still rely on chemical propulsion and electromagnetic communication. Conquest will be trivial. What none of them knew was that Earth's missing representative, Dr. Elena Vasquez, was not absent by choice. Her transport had been intercepted 3 days earlier, her encrypted quantum communicator ripped from her dying hands by hegemony assassins. Her final transmission had been brief. They're coming. All of them. God help us all. The message had reached Earth through quantum entanglement relays, hidden in seemingly innocuous deep space probes. Within hours, every major world government had received the intelligence. Within days, humanity's true nature began to reveal itself. The first expedition fleet arrived at Earth 6 months later, a modest force of 200 ships representing a dozen species. They expected to find a primitive world of scattered nation-states, easily divided and conquered. Instead, they found something that shouldn't have existed. Fleet Admiral Zortek of the Hegemony studied the tactical displays with growing unease. Earth's surface was dark, not the darkness of a primitive world, but the calculated blackout of a civilization that had weaponized stealth itself. No electromagnetic emissions, no thermal signatures, no signs of the bustling industrial world their long-range surveys had detected just months earlier. "Sensor sweep complete," reported his aide. "Detecting minimal surface activity. The humans appear to be hiding in underground installations." Zortek's confidence returned. "Primitive fear response. Begin orbital bombardment of major population centers. Drive them to the surface where we can collect them properly." The first plasma lance struck what had once been New York City. The beam penetrated deep into the Earth, and then something impossible happened. The energy didn't dissipate. Instead, it was absorbed, channeled, and redirected upward in a column of pure destruction that vaporized the Hegemony dreadnought Eternal Conquest in seconds. "Impossible!" Zortek shrieked. "They're primitives, Stone Age savages with barely functional spaceflight." The response came not through their communication systems, but as a direct neural interface that bypassed every security protocol they possessed. The voice was calm, measured, and utterly human. "Stone Age?" Dr. Sarah Chen materialized as a hologram on their bridge, the same Dr. Chen whose primitive research papers on quantum mechanics had been dismissed by the Council as the delusions of an inferior species. "We've been in space for 3 centuries, Admiral. We just never bothered to announce ourselves." Around Earth, space itself began to ripple. What the aliens had mistaken for empty void suddenly revealed itself as humanity's true fleet, 10,000 vessels that had been hiding in folded spacetime, their hulls wrapped in dimensional cloaking fields that made them effectively invisible to conventional sensors. You see, Dr. Chen continued, as hegemony ships began exploding around them, we learned something important from your own histories. Every species you've conquered made the same mistake. They revealed their capabilities too early. They showed you their hand before they understood yours. The human ships weren't like anything in the galactic databases. Where other species built vessels for conquest, humans had built them for annihilation. The Prometheus-class destroyers didn't fire plasma or particle beams. They fired black holes, microscopic singularities that consumed whatever they touched before safely evaporating. The Retribution-class cruisers wielded gravity itself as a weapon, crushing enemy vessels like insects in an invisible fist. Impossible. Admiral Zortek repeated, his voice breaking. Your species was evaluated. You're emotional, irrational, prone to internal conflict. Oh, we are, Dr. Chen agreed pleasantly. But you misunderstood what that means. Our emotions don't make us weak, they make us creative. Our conflicts don't divide us, they teach us to fight better. And our irrationality? Her smile was terrible to behold. It makes us do things that logical species would never dare attempt. As if to demonstrate her point, human vessels began performing maneuvers that violated known physics. Ships accelerated past light speed without engaging FTL drives, simply by convincing local spacetime that they were already at their destination. Crews survived forces that should have liquefied them by wearing personal gravity generators that created pockets of stable physics around each individual. You wanted slaves, Dr. Chen's voice echoed across the dying fleet. Instead, you found the species that enslaved physics itself. The battle, if it could be called that, lasted exactly 17 minutes. Not a single human vessel was lost. The alien fleet simply ceased. Some ships were disintegrated by controlled antimatter reactions. Others were compressed into perfect spheres by gravitational manipulation. A few were translated into higher dimensional space, their crews left to contemplate their errors in a realm where time moved backwards. But humanity's response was only beginning. Within days, every species that had voted for Earth's enslavement found their homeworlds under siege, not by invading fleets, but by reality itself. The hegemony's capital world, Mordark, woke to find its sun aging rapidly, compressed by human technology into a red giant that would consume their world within years instead of millennia. The Zephyrian gas clouds discovered their atmospheric composition slowly changing, their gaseous forms solidifying into helpless, suffocating masses. The crystalline Concord watched in horror as their mineral bodies began to resonate at frequencies that shattered their consciousness into fragments. Species after species found themselves facing extinction not through conventional warfare, but through the precise application of scientific principles they had never imagined could be weaponized. On Zentara Prime, Chancellor Vex Thala stood before the emergency session of the Galactic Council, her crystalline form flickering with fear. We must negotiate, she pleaded. Humanity's response is disproportionate. Dr. Chen's hologram materialized in the center of the chamber, her expression no longer pleasant. Disproportionate? You voted unanimously to enslave 12 billion human beings. Every single one of you participated. Every single one of you will face the consequences. We can offer reparations, the Alterian delegate chittered desperately. Technology, resources, worlds of your choosing. You can offer nothing we cannot take, Dr. Chen replied coldly, and nothing we cannot create. What you can offer is a lesson to the galaxy about the consequences of predatory behavior. The hologram flickered as Dr. Chen's image was replaced by a star map showing the territories of every species that had voted for humanity's enslavement. One by one, stars began going dark, not destroyed but harvested, their energy stored in human collection matrices for purposes the aliens couldn't fathom. This is genocide, Chancellor Vex Thala whispered. No, Dr. Chen's voice returned, now carrying the weight of humanity's collective fury. Genocide is what you planned for us. This is justice. You wanted to chain a species that had already broken the chains of reality itself. You confused our isolation for weakness, our diplomacy for submission. Around the galaxy, human fleets continued their work. Not conquest. Humanity had no interest in ruling other species. Instead, they systematically dismantled every military installation, every slave processing facility, every infrastructure that supported the galactic economy of exploitation. Your empires are built on the suffering of others, Dr. Chen continued. We're simply removing your ability to cause that suffering. You'll survive in isolated systems, with pre-FTL technology, contemplating the wisdom of judging a species by its willingness to seek peaceful coexistence. As the transmission ended and the human fleets vanished back into folded space, the surviving delegates sat in stunned silence. They had believed themselves the apex predators of the galaxy. They had discovered, too late, that they were merely the latest species to mistake humanity's mercy for weakness.